they're black, they're blinking at me, so I hope that means that they're on.
Blinking. Shoot. Are they supposed to blink or are they supposed to be solid?
No, they're solid before I hit them, so they're supposed to be blinking.
Okay.
That means they're active. So we should be good to go.
I'm trying to record out of this thing. Okay. All set? Good evening, everyone. It's 7 o'clock, and I'd like to call this meeting of the Armada Planning Commission to order. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next is roll call. First, we'll start off with Scott. I'd like to welcome Scott. Is filling in for until
Whoever, yeah.
till whenever. So this is Scott, everyone, and then if you would do the roll call, please.
Sure. If I mispronounce anyone's name, I apologize ahead of time. Chair Keary,
Here.
Vice Chair Abercrombie,
Here.
Liaison Murray,
Here.
Member Finn,
Maureen did call in, and she had unexpected, so she's not going to be here.
okay. Commissioner Finley,
Here.
Commissioner Jabara,
Here.
Commissioner Weisky.
That's right.
Okay.
Here.
You will all be working present.
Thank you, Scott. Next is to the approve or amend the agenda. We do have an amendment here. This is regarding the Jeff Miller. This evidently, I don't know the exact backstory, but it was presented in time and it didn't make it onto the agenda. And Laura, you don't have a review in here, but you've just had a time to look at it briefly, basically?
Yes.
Okay. But since it was presented on time, we are going to amend the agenda to add it, and we'll have some discussion on it and kind of get some groundwork on it, so.
Can I, if I may ask, where is it going to be added?
We will add that to new business, so we'll make this
C?
C. It'll be Miller.
Farm special, site plan review. Thank you.
Okay, so Miller Farm site plan review.
Is he in attendance?
He is.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, are there any other amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, a motion would be in order to approve the agenda as amended.
And just because I don't know everyone, if you could please say who's making the motion in the
Okay.
second, so I can make sure I get it right in the minutes.
I'll make the motion. Randy Finley.
Okay, Randy,
Approve the agenda.
Jabara.
Randy and Joe.
Excuse me, just so you know, I also take notes, Scott, so we
Okay.
can go
Well,
ahead.
and there's a video, but the less I have to, if I don't have to only do it once, the better for everyone.
I'll show you my name tag.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next is the approval of our minutes from our last regular meeting, which was July 6th. Everyone has a copy of those minutes?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
I'm sorry, I have changes that I want done. I think that they need to be more in depth,
More in-depth?
yes.
Okay, what do you have proposed?
Well, there's quite a few. I think it's important to add who
Speak
said,
into the mic, back, please.
you know, like in the reports, Chair Carrick went through reports and correspondence, which included an email from him stating if we are all in agreement, I would like to recommend to the board that the ACK expense is probably not a good choice for an administrative review. Discussion followed with Chair mentioning concerns regarding the ACK expense issue not being a good choice for administrative review, verifying if we are all in agreement this particular issue seems to be a bit convoluted for an easy decision, and asked that it be passed on to the township board. This was agreed upon, and he asked the liaison, Sarah, to pass this information along to the township board. Because that's how that all came into place, and that was a decision, and I think that's important, that needs to be in the minutes. And then in new business, on the rezoning of the car wash, I think it's important to make note that the applicant wasn't the owner of the property, and that the site, that the application wasn't signed, and that was noted by a commissioner.
I did.
I did. We both did. And then in the garage size limitation, add that Randy was the one that brought it to the attention regarding the 850 square feet, and we had discussion on that.
So you want all that detail added to
Yes,
the
I
minutes?
do. And then, the master plan discussion, we discussed about the annexation, of the township to the village of Romeo and how it'll affect the township, and also the topic of water and sewer. I mean, to look at the minutes, it looks like we're just letting all this go by, and we did have discussion, and I think that that's important, that that is in the minutes so people can follow to see that we are concerned. And Maureen Finn, suggested reaching out to the residents sections of the master plan would be a good idea. That was another thing that was mentioned, and that we need, input from the community. And looking at updating the future land uses map. Flexibility, we wanted a definition for flexibility definition. We wanted to send a message to the township board regarding water and sewer in the township, and what the board is looking for, and what their plan is on and where and when to provide the services for the township. And then we also requested a copy from the meeting from the county and neighboring townships regarding water, sewer, and Sarah was gonna check into that. I just think that those are things that we did discuss, and I think as a planning commission, it's important for these to be in the minutes. We're not the township board, we are planning, and this is how we go back. If you look at our agenda today, a lot of this stuff isn't even on it. It's like to the wayside, like it's gone.
Okay, so you're making a motion?
I'm making a motion.
And we-
And if it's easier for Scott to listen to the video to get that information and who said it, that's fine with me, but I think that they need to be more in depth.
Okay, so what is the motion?
The motion is not to accept the minutes as written and to have them redone.
Okay. We have a motion to not accept the minutes as presented and have them redone. Is there a second?
I'll second it, only due to there is so many issues. She did bring up a few good points, so, if it's no problem for Scott.
I am served at the pleasure of the planning commission and the supervisor.
Okay, so we have a motion. Okay, so your proposal would be to, the entire planning commission has to approve this. So do you have copies for the entire planning commission?
Actually, her motion is just not approve the minutes, so
To
there's no,
table?
It's,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So they would just,
contingent,
we'd have to approve them
Next
We can
month,
approve them at the next meeting.
at the next meeting.
If we have more, if we approve them. But
Okay.
I just think that that's important to have that information in there.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion? My discussion, I feel it's a little bit too much detail, but that's neither here nor there. It's up
I
to,
would agree, according to Robert's rules, some minutes are motion second. You can do a Reader's Digest version of discussion, and then the vote.
But we don't even have that. Sarah, your report that you sent off to the township board has more information in your report than our minutes does.
And that's available to whoever wants it also. I understand where you're coming
I know.
from, I do,
I know you're going according to Robert's rule, and that's, I just
but I
think it's
think,
important. If somebody, these people out here weren't at last month's meeting, and they wanted to know what went on, they're not gonna get much out of the minutes.
it is something for us to go back on at a later date, if something does come up, to look at our minutes, and if they're not in our minutes, these people have the right to have the word done correctly, because it's in their behalf.
And actually, if I wasn't here this week, when someone came in and wanted to know why something wasn't on the agenda, and the clerk and the person came in, and poor Scott is like, well, I don't know,
No,
nobody
it's
told
a-
me that's supposed to be
It's
on
It's
there,
a joy of transition.
but if you go to the minutes, it's not in the minutes.
Can I just make one point of parliamentary procedure? I believe Ms. Murray did make a motion to approve, so if she's making a motion to amend,
The
that'll be
first
one
motion
thing,
has to
but,
be voted
well,
on.
technically, I don't believe there was a second to your
No,
motion.
There was a second, right?
So I think procedurally, we need to see if there's a second to her motion, because her motion is not an amendment, it is basically a tabling. So I think the proper procedure would be, we need to see if there's a second for her motion to approve. If there is, vote, and if that fails, then she can make her motion to table. But, and just because she's not making an amendment, she's basically asking to table. So I think
To
we should
redo
deal
it.
with the motion she made
The
first. to see
first
if there's a
motion was
second.
Sarah's to approve.
To see if there's a second, and if there is, to go
Right.
from
I
there,
did
and then
not
if
call-
that motion fails, to go to Ms. Abercrombie's motion.
Okay. Well, we have a motion from Sarah to approve the minutes as presented, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second? I will second that. Is there any discussion on, obviously, we've had discussion from Beth that she does not agree with that, but, all right, so Sarah, DJ, let's vote on the first motion to approve as presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I'm opposed.
Opposed, nay?
Okay, so that's, you've got Randy, Norm, and Beth.
And Joe?
Did Joe,
I did,
you were for or against?
against.
Against, okay, so the motion does not pass, the motion fails. Okay,
So now,
so now we have the motion to, and
Table.
seconded by Randy,
To
to,
table.
to amend,
no, actually, she's
Just
basically asking to
say-
table,
you're asking to table.
and that was seconded by,
Right.
Okay. Laura, what happens if neither of these motions passes? How do we go through a major amendment? We just have to work on it next month, or?
You're just tabling the motion is to table the minutes until they can be revised and put on next month's
so
agenda.
basically, they would- if you, that you're basically tabling them to next month, they would automatically be placed on next month's agenda.
Okay.
Revised.
Revised.
I just trying to figure out how we're gonna work on those. I guess you and I would probably work on those together, and then
Probably.
we present them back to the planning
Definitely.
commission. Okay. Okay, all in favor of the, so the motion is to table the approval of the minutes? Correct?
Mhm.
That's your motion, okay. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay?
Nay.
Okay, so that's just you and I, Sarah, so the motion carries.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm assuming, when Scott and I work on these minutes, that you guys want all the detail.
It's important for us to have the zonings done correctly. I don't care about the small chit chat that we discuss on the zoning ordinances and all that, because a lot of that's just kicked back and forth. But getting their part done right is something I think should be done correctly.
Okay.
On that too, actually, Beth, in the motion, it's contingent upon them meeting those criteria, just to clear some of that up.
Well, it would come, the motion is that it'll automatically. come
No,
back.
no, I'm,
motion
bear
on-
with me here. On the motion I made last month,
Oh, last one,
it's
okay.
in the,
Mhm.
so
Well,
if
that's
that helps
fine,
you out
But
there.
I'm just saying, we
Yes,
needed,
yes, ma'am,
we
that's
needed more
fine.
detail.
Okay,
That's
so Scott's gonna need a copy of those. You just have one copy?
Of the last one, then, I have the,
No, I mean of the,
if she has a copy of what she wanted added, that would make it easier, otherwise I'm gonna have to watch.
I'll
the
give
whole
you a
meeting.
copy of them.
If you can send it
Yep.
electronically, I can copy and paste.
okay.
I mean, and it's not,
Yeah.
just to touch base on this stuff, that's my main thing. I
Okay.
went into detail on mine because what I felt was important, so.
Because I always make sure that everything that we've discussed and of course, all the action has to be in there, but I also include the things that we've discussed, but,
Well, there was a lot discussed in the reports.
Okay,
We had a lot of discussion during the reports, so that's important.
okay.
The decisions
Get a
were-
copy of that to Scott, and
I will
then,
do that.
Scott, if you and I want to work on that, or if you want
Sure.
to take the ball and,
Figure it out. Well, I can take what she says and then we can go back and forth.
okay. All right, next.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. The next on our agenda is our first public comment. If there's any public comments on any of the agenda items, the podium would be helpful if you could identify yourself so we can have your name. And
Chair, could we just formally open and close the public hearing?
Well, actually, this is public comment.
Public
This is
comments.
public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself.
I'm here for the car wash. On the public, on the item, are we gonna be able to speak then, or should I speak now?
As we have a
Public hearing.
public hearing, so you'll have, you'll have all the time you need during the public hearing to speak on that.
So not right now.
Yeah, so this will be, anyone out, well, we do have a public hearing for the Armada Center Car Wash. We also have a public hearing for Larry's towing proposed parking lot. So at those times, if you want to speak on those two items, we will give you all the time that you need within reason. So public comments really on, if you've have something else that you'd like to speak on, it'd be a perfect time for that, so. Monica? It's
The board went into
not,
executive
it's Monica
session.
Job, I don't know. if
Yeah,
Scott knows.
sorry, I don't know names, so.
The board went into executive session regarding the purchase of the home on North Avenue and Center Road.
Okay.
Was that accepted, Mary, or
Sarah?
Sarah?
I have not heard.
Okay, because that would be something that you guys would want to make sure that you are looking into as far as the parks and things like that on the master plan, so, thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Any other public comments? Okay, seeing no other public comments, it is now 7:17, and I'd like to, we're gonna have two public hearings, Laura, so we're gonna open them both and close them, okay. I'd like to have a motion to open the public hearing regarding the special land use of the Armada Center Car Wash.
So moved.
All right,
Support.
that's
Beth
Beth
and
and
Beth.
Sarah.
Beth and Sarah.
You?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. So what we have here is a special hearing, a public hearing. And this is the opportunity for the planning commission to gain any information, finding a fact from you, the public, and your chance to voice, give us facts, things like that. So we'll have the applicant present first, and then usually we go through with a planner's review, so that, so the public can understand everything, and then I'll open it up to any public. If you have any further questions or something wasn't explained clearly enough, then we'll take your public comment. And we just ask you to come up to podium, give your name, address, so we have it for the public record. And
Where's Larry's?
I'm sure we're not going to limit it to 3 minutes, because there's not that many people here, but, everyone will have their opportunity to speak,
No,
so.
no filibustering?
No, we're not gonna worry about the filibuster.
Hey,
So,
DJ?
Hang on,
Yeah.
right here. You got the wrong one.
question?
Yes, no, we're set.
Okay.
Thank you.
So as part of the public hearing, we do have to make sure that we have public notice, which is published in the record, as well as our website, so we have notice. And the affidavit showing the ad was public notice as per our regulations, so we do have that. So with that, I would like to now invite you up to present what you're proposing for the,
Good evening, Bob Kirk, 19500 Howell Road, Clinton Township. I'm a municipal land use attorney here with petitioner Andrew Mazer. We've been before you before. As you recall, Andrew wants to improve that car wash and by doing some pavement work, adding 15 feet to put an enclosed auto wash. Unfortunately, that triggered a lot of hoops to jump through here to go from a B1 to a B2 zoning because the zoning ordinance changed. We also need a special land use, and we have to go back through site plan back to you eventually also. As I said, he's adding 15 feet to one of the bays to put an enclosed automatic wash. Also doing a bunch of other site improvements. We believe we met the 8 standards of the special land use that Laura set forth. I saw the Spalding Decker letter. Those are kind of all site plan issues with regard to pavements, storm, all those type of things. We can address them at those points. So we'd request that you consider and approve a special land use and recommend it to the township board for Andrew's use.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions?
Do you have any questions for the applicant, or do we want to just get into the planner's review?
Go for the planner's
I
review first.
I think you're off to it for now. We'll listen to the planner, and she'll give us a, I would like to say that, Laura, these reviews are very good, they're very nice and thorough, and we really appreciate them being, so thorough.
Thank
So
you.
with that, if you'd like to kind of go through that.
Certainly. Evening, Commissioners. This application is for 22920 Armada Center Road for the expansion of an existing self-service car wash facility. As you recall, earlier this summer, the site was conditionally rezoned from the B1 Business District, where car washes are not permitted or special land use, to the B2 District, where they are a special land use. So even though this is an existing facility, the fact that the applicant is looking to expand it has triggered this rezoning and the special land use. So they will be fully in compliance with the zoning ordinance following this process. Our recommendation is on page 2 of our review, in which, since this is a special land use, it does require a recommendation to the Board of Trustees. We do recommend approval contingent upon site plan approval, which would follow at a future meeting. And this is based on several findings of fact, including compliance with the use standards of section 16.01 for car washes. Going through the specific criteria just briefly, the township ordinance does require 8 different standards to be met, if applicable, for any special land use. This analysis of the 8 criteria start on page 3 of our review. Some of the key points are under number 1, where it talks about the location, size, and character of the use and its compatibility with the master plan. This site is planned for commercial in the future, and it furthers several specific policies of the township's adopted master plan. We list those policies specifically under criteria number 5 in our review. But also, staying on page 3, there are some use standards that are specific to any car washes within the township, which the standards are met by this project. So for instance, access to the site needs to be provided from a major thoroughfare, which Armada Center Road is. There needs to be adequate stacking space for vehicles to be able to queue into the bays, which is provided for. Additional drying space once leaving the bay needs to be provided for, which the applicant can provide. Item 1D on page 3, a 25-foot green belt is required along all property lines. The applicant does partially comply with this. The site, since it's an existing facility, they encroach into this 25-foot green belt. They have approximately a 12-foot green belt. However, they're not proposing any further encroachment, so this is just an existing nonconformity. They're not increasing that nonconformity. And as part of their site plan, the addition of vegetation along that green belt will bring the site into greater compliance. So they'll actually be lessening that nonconformity as they go through this process. Regarding traffic and safety, they are providing for the required number of parking spaces, and no changes to the site access on Armada Center Road are proposed. I think it's important to note that currently there are 2 vacuum stations that are in front of the facility. One of those will be removed to allow for some additional parking. This will also potentially decrease the noise generated on site at one time. The expansion of bay number 3 and the additional bypass lane that they're proposing on the east side of the property will not impact the site or surrounding sites in a negative manner, provided that screening is addressed during the site plan review process. We talked a little bit about the need of use and furthering the policies of the master plan that are listed on page 5. And then, importantly on page 6, the facility can meet the standards of the B2 General Business District in which it's located now. But we do list out 6 kind of key components for a site plan review. So these aren't necessary at this time with a special land use review, but at the time of site plan, they are something for the applicant to consider. We don't see any hardships in meeting these standards. They just need to be detailed on the site plan. One item potentially for the commission to discuss tonight and give some direction to the applicant on is the building facade, the building materials. So on page 6, 6C, the zoning ordinance requires that where a principal commercial building is, within 200 feet of the front lot line, the walls of the building must be constructed predominantly of face brick, unless otherwise approved by the commission. So right now they've proposed concrete block that would be painted to match the rest of the building. We recommend either the brick material when they come back for site plan, or a textured split face block that would look more like a natural stone to accent that third bay expansion. But that is a discretionary item for the commission to consider in the future. But if you'd like to give the applicant some direction on that now, that would be appropriate. It doesn't need to be included in your motion, since this is just for the special land use. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. So at this point, this is a special land use request, which is a recommendation to the township board,
Correct.
which, and then so this is more of a preliminary site plan, and we're not actually approving a site plan, we're just recommending the special land use at this point.
Correct.
And then you have your recommendation on page 2, which is basically to approve it with these following findings of fact.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the facade issue is kind of just more of giving them a little heads up of what we'll be looking for if we've got any conclusions at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Good question for you, Laura. Why did you make them evacuate the vacuum? Was it a parking lot issue that they were,
No, the applicant has proposed that on their own accord.
okay,
So they are keeping, there's 4 vacuums there,
Yes.
2 stations right now. They're taking one of those away. They could
One
probably
station
address
or
it.
one bag?
1 station of 2 vacuums.
yeah, it's station up 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the applicant.
Okay.
And right now, the building is constructed of block, and they were proposing just
Paint it.
just to
Mhm.
paint it, regular concrete block. Does the commission have any input on that? Our ordinance does require, let's say, that the brick on facades.
We still have a public hearing, so we have to open it up to the
Oh,
audience,
okay.
right? And then you close the public
Okay.
hearing, and
Right.
then we
Well, I
discuss
just
this
wanted-
later.
Okay, so then we can discuss that are there any public comments at this time? Public hearing is open, and if you have any question, don't be, something's not clear. Everybody knows that it's the Armada Center Car Wash on the north end of town, okay, right by the tractor dealer. There's nobody online either, so I don't see any public comments online. Okay, well, so the time,
I have nothing is coming in written.
no correspondence, okay. Okay, well, I don't see any public comments, so we are going to ask for a motion at 7:29 to close the public hearing on the Armada Center Car Wash.
So moved.
Beth,
Support.
Sarah, all in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Now, this is on our agenda under special land use that we will make our deliberations in just a little bit. We have another public hearing, so now it's probably 7:30, on Larry's towing proposed parking lot. So we have a motion at 7:30 to open the public hearing.
So we'll, oh, sorry,
Let's
go
see, I
ahead, Joe.
think we'll go Joe and
Joe.
Beth.
Yeah. Did you get that, Scott?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so this same criteria, we're having a public hearing to gain information on this, and this is gonna require rezoning, so our mission here is, as planning board, is to gather the information and make a recommendation to the township board, who has the authority to approve rezonings. So, once again, this has been publicly noticed. We have the affidavit. It's online. It was in our paper of record. And we have Larry at the podium. So Larry, thank you. If you
Larry
would like
Swartz
to-
from Larry's Service and Towing. We're proposing an overflow parking lot at 72727 North Avenue. We're looking for extra parking, overflow parking. It's we're out of space. We need something. So we're asking the board to rezone this so that we can get some space to continue doing what we do.
Okay, and for anyone who's not familiar, this parcel would just be directly adjacent to the last house south of.
2 houses down.
Okay, and you are in the village where this parcel is gonna be a new parcel split off of a parcel that's part of the township.
The parcel that we're looking at is part of the township.
Right.
Our
Okay,
other parcel is in the village.
okay. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant, or do you wanna go right into the,
Can I ask
Yes.
what the
Okay.
frontage on North Avenue is that you're proposing to rezone?
The frontage,
I mean, in here, I'm not very good at reading property descriptions where it says.
300 feet.
Is it
It's
Three.
299 feet.
299? So that was, okay.
And can you spell your last name for me, Larry?
SWARTZ.
okay, so that is that area which is high, and then it kinda slopes back down towards the
Yes,
creek after that,
yes.
okay. A few more questions for Larry, we'll get into, Laura, you wanna go ahead and do your review?
Certainly, thank you. Okay, so as just described, this would be an overflow secondary parking lot for the temporary parking of both personal vehicles and trucks for Larry's Automotive Service and Towing operation. It would be a gravel parking lot that would be screened and landscaped along North Avenue and gated. So this is not open to the public, but for members of the business to access as needed. The site is just under 2 acres and consists of vacant land today. It does not have a parcel ID as it is a newly proposed split, but the legal description is provided on page 2 in footnote A. On page 2 is our recommendation, which, since this is a rezoning, this is a map amendment to the zoning map, it is a recommendation to the township board. Our recommendation is to grant the rezoning, or make a recommendation to approve the rezoning from the R1 residential district to the least intensive commercial district that the township has, which is the B1 business district. I just want to make it clear that our recommendation of approval of the rezoning tonight to the township board is not a site plan review. They would still be required to come back before this body and produce those documents. So even though we are talking about a specific use with this rezoning, it's not limited to this use. We need to consider other uses under the B1 district should the applicant sell the property tomorrow or in 5 years from now. So going through the rezoning review, the township's ordinance does outline 14 specific criteria as applicable when considering a rezoning request. The first is consistency with the master plan. We note that there are specific policies which are furthered by the rezoning of this subject property to the B1 district. And it's also consistent with the future land use map, which designates the subject site as mixed use. Specifically, the master plan reads, North Avenue is designed or designated for commercial development. Some of this already exists, including a small commercial node just north of the village. The mixed-use district identified on the future land use map is intended to accommodate some commercial uses as well. Since the site is planned for mixed use, the current zoning district of just a single-family residential home does not support or further that. We do not find that the proposed B1 business district would be incompatible with the surrounding land uses. We find that it furthers both the township and the village's long-term goals for the area. There is already commercially zoned properties to the east in the township, and to the north in the village. This area is designated to be developed as industrial in the future. So even though there's single-family homes there, there also is existing industrial, and that's planned to continue. So encouraging or incentivizing single-family on this parcel would actually be counterintuitive to future industrial being developed on that site, or to the north of the property, and could lead to potential nuisances. The property receives access from North Avenue, which is also classified as a major road within the townships, and it's not anticipated that traffic volumes either from the proposed parking lot use or other permissible uses in the B1 district would generate adverse traffic impacts. Under number 7, we note a diagram from the master plan that shows that this area in particular of the township is considered the development area, where future redevelopment, especially any commercial or mixed-use development, should be concentrated. So that further supports that goal. The number 8 deals with the schedule of regulations and the dimensional requirements. This, approximately 2-acre parcel could comply with the dimensional standards of the B1 district. It wouldn't be creating a nonconformity in the future. Importantly, number 10 on the criteria, this is asking if it is more appropriate to rezone the property than to amend the list of permitted or special land uses in the district itself. And so it would be adverse to amend the allowable uses in a residential district to include such parking, commercial parking lots, whereas the rezoning supports the master plan and the logical, orderly development that has been contemplated for extension of development from the village along North Avenue. So our recommendation is to recommend approval to Township Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. And as mentioned, we do have to take into consideration all the permitted uses in the B1 district, but looking through those uses, there really aren't any that would be detrimental to this area, which is, like I say, already zoned industrial to the north, and across the street is business, so.
Correct, and so any future special land uses in the B1 district would still require the public hearing process and going through that review as well.
Any questions for the planner? For
Yes.
the public? Joe?
Actually, you said number 7's counterintuitive. And on number 3, your evidence for the applicant that it cannot be, receive a reasonable return on investment for the man? Why can't he? If he develops it for number 3, for the developed property with the use of the permitted under a current zoning, does he have to rezone it, is what you're saying? Just so we're clear? Number 3?
Here.
On page 3.
Oh, because currently the zoning only permits single family.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify that because I was, all right, very well, thanks.
I do have a
Beth, go
question
ahead.
too. Yeah, has it been confirmed with the assessor that this is a piece of land that can be split and that can be split off the main parcel?
I don't have anything from the assessor's department that would indicate otherwise.
Okay.
Okay. So at this time, are there any comment from the public, any questions, comments regarding this parcel, which is just adjacent to the last home, south end, west side of North Avenue, to add some additional parking for Larry's Automotive? Still nobody? I'll be glad when we can close that thing up for good. Any correspondence that's come in?
Nothing
Scott?
on this subject.
Okay. Okay, well then, it is 7:40. I don't see any additional public comments, so motion be in order to close the public hearing at 7:40 for Larry's towing proposed parking lot.
I'll make that motion.
Norm,
I'll second it.
Randy.
Finley.
So we got Norm Moisky, Randy Finley, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Okay, so we got a little business to take care of for here. Reports and correspondence before we get into new business. Did we have any reports and correspondence? I didn't.
I haven't gotten anything
No.
through the planning department about any correspondence or reports. I do know, though, that I've been asked to speak about the ongoing discussion with Lakes that has now moved over to the building department, because the township board did grant our building inspector and department permission to grant the proper permits. They are, I think, either granted, and I think the construction has begun on that project, so that was an update on that. Like I said, there's no report to planning about it, but since it's in building now, but that is the action that was taken.
Are you doing planning and building?
I'm kind of sharing building with the deputy treasurer right now.
Okay.
So she was trained on it and she's doing it. I know how to do it myself, and we're both working on this project along with the building inspector. So that's how we kind of worked our way to this solution that we've got
Okay.
to at the moment.
So, yeah, that building I see is under construction.
Correct.
And it was, under the ag, it's a storage building. Our planner recommended that it may affect some other things, but,
Yeah, we
But
got
it's
caught
been
up in
approved.
some legalisms that
Right.
kind of the township board made a call on, so.
okay. And I did ask the supervisor if there's anything new regarding the road study, and as of yet, there's no word on grants or no new information there. Sarah, do you have anything?
The only thing that's coming to me off the top of my head is that John and we invited you and Mel to go to this
Oh,
thing in October, on GAMPS and, Right to Farm Act, and so John and I are gonna go to it at the end of October, and I'll be bringing a report back to the planning
Okay.
commission on that.
look forward
I
to
just
that.
thought it'd be interesting to hear from another source, more information, so that's what we're doing.
Okay. Anyone else have any reports or? Okay. Seeing none, motion be in order to receive and file the reports and correspondence.
We don't have any, do we?
Well, it's just the
Just-
basic
okay,
oral
just-
reports.
All right,
Yeah.
oral reports, I'll make that motion then.
Okay. Beth,
I'll support that.
and was that Sarah that heard that?
Mhm.
Beth, Sarah, all in favor to receive and file the reports and correspondence, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Which brings us to new business, and the first item under new business is the special land use for the Armada Center Car Wash. And we have a recommendation from the planner. And like I said, at this point, it's a recommendation to the township board for the special land use. Then they will be coming in with the official site plans and take care of the site plan, the engineering. And I apologize, I just set that aside, here we go.
While you're doing that, I just wanna comment, and I'm glad that we have the site plan review checklist
Right.
included, that was kinda nice
Yeah.
to see.
And it
Thank
was
you.
everything,
I
would-
didn't know, I just did every piece of paper I had, so.
yeah, and, you know, we've got a little transition with the office, so, we're trying to keep things moving as smoothly as possible. We always wanna make things work as best we can for
That's
our
perfect.
public, so.
Thanks for doing that, Scott.
So the recommendation, we didn't have any real public input, so this pretty much stands. From the planner was move to recommend approval of the proposed special land use for a car wash facility at 22920 Armada Center Road, parcel ID number, to the Township Board, contingent upon site plan approval and based on compliance with section 1601 and the following findings of fact. So, Laura, you've got the 6 findings of fact. We've kind of gone through those and found positive for all these findings. So your recommendation is still to recommend approval to the Township Board for the facility?
Yes, so if you were so comfortable, it's in a motion format, with a summary of those findings.
Okay.
Do we need to include the engineer with that?
Yeah, the Spalding
engineer?
one.
Or is that a
No,
separate
this is just
motion?
for the special, this is not a site plan approval. This is,
Okay.
this is strictly the, we're recommending the special land use, which the Township Board would then approve, and then they would come back with official site plans and then go to engineering, so. Are there any other questions on the?
No.
So it'd be, everybody's fine with the wording of the motion as is presented here?
Yeah. I can make that motion, do that.
Okay. So Sarah? So we have the motion to recommend approval of the proposed special land use for a car wash facility at 22920 Armada Center Road to the Township Board. And now, when it says contingent upon a site plan approval and based on compliance, that's just, they're not gonna need that, but to make the to approve the
That
special
all goes
land
to the
use.
board. We
Is
just
that-
make the recommendation that the planning commission, planning commission is okay with what has been presented.
Has that been met?
What-
I.e. the signatures and all that? Because it was stated contingent.
Right,
Or do we need
that
to deal with
contingency
that
with
now?
the signing of the owner was taken care of. I just want to clarify, Laura, that when you
Okay.
say contingent upon the site plan approval and based on compliance of 1601 of our zoning ordinance, that is, we're recommending that, but the board isn't actually going to have that information when they approve the special land use, are they?
For the site plan, no, it's just saying that the special land use is contingent upon eventual site plan approval.
Right.
If
So
they don't
we're
get site
we're
plan
just
approval, they
recommending that
can't.
contingent upon them presenting all the information,
Presenting.
that the board approve it.
And then they come back with a site plan
Correct,
for
yes.
the planning commission.
And section 1601 are the special land use criteria
Right.
of the
Okay.
ordinance, so.
That's fine.
Okay, so as long as we've gone through and we've identified these 6 issues, and so it's just a matter of the board confirming that they agree upon our findings. So, okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, so Joe, okay, and everybody's got the motion in front of them. I've read it twice, so everybody's clear on the motion. Are there any questions? No? Okay, all in favor of the motion to approve this car wash facility for special land use, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. So their next course of action is, next week, is to get the approval from the Township Board. Right, okay, thank you very much. And that takes us to, okay, let's see. The rezoning request for Larry's towing proposed parking lot. So let's hopefully I didn't bury that one. There it is. And here again, now this is this is a rezoning request, very similar to what we did with the car wash a couple months ago. Where we are making, we're recommending to the Township Board, who has the authority to approve the rezoning. So, here again, the planner has presented, recommending approval of the proposed rezoning from R1 Residential District to B1 Business District for the 1.925 acres generally located at 72727 North Avenue, and the legal descriptions provided, to the Township Board based on the following findings of fact. The request aligns with the future land use map of the 2015 master plan, as the site is designated as mixed use, and the B1 business district is the least intensive commercial zoning district available. 2, the request supports the policies of the master plan, including the expansion of the tax base and the concentrated commercial activity within the township's designated development area. 3, the request furthers the logical and orderly development patterns for commercial and industrial uses that are planned and/or established within both the township and the village for this area. And the subject site is located on a major road within the township. Anyone like to make that motion?
I'll make it.
Joe?
Either one.
Joe, okay, so we have Joe and
Joe.
Norm second.
I'll second
Is there any question on the motion? Everybody's got a copy, so I'm not gonna read it again. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. So, once again, Larry, next Wednesday is the Township Board meeting where they will look at the rezoning request and either approve or deny that. And then if they approve it, you're off to the races with site planning and engineering and all the good stuff.
Finding a whole lot of ground.
When can we go in front of you to get that approved
The Township Board meets same time next week, this Wednesday.
for the site plan?
Yeah, so, and then as soon as that's approved, he'd be bringing his
Is-
plans
yeah,
to the,
You can bring it to in the next day, and we can put it, because the deadline for anything that doesn't require public notice is next week Thursday, for our next meeting. If it needs public notice, I need it tomorrow, so.
right, so you can bring in your plans Thursday, next Thursday, right after the Township Board, if they approve it. You can give them all the plans, and then we can get it on the agenda for next month. That'll give the planner time to review it. Because next Thursday is the deadline to get on the
Correct.
agenda. So you want to have everything in order.
Right. Now, as far as the drawing, what is the criteria for the drawing? It's basically just a parking lot. I've been working with some engineering, and they're asking some, as far as questions, as far as topo surveys. We're not changing any grades, we're basically taking the topsoil off and putting some gravel in.
Right.
It's already been surveyed by,
Engineering's a whole nother animal, but Lori, now you had a pre-construction meeting, so do you have any issues as far as planning goes? There's gonna be some screening.
And this is a drawing that you can draw, as if you require a topo survey. It's already been surveyed, we already have the legal description, and we are not altering the grade at all. Basically, we're stripping 4 inches and putting gravel down and a fence.
Then for planning, you wouldn't need the topo survey. Let's just confirm it with the engineer that they're good.
Okay.
And the drawings do have to be signed and sealed by, yeah. There's a list of the requirements, how many copies, and that it has to be signed by the professional. And
Okay, on our end, the person that draws it's got it.
they have to, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, pay somebody to do it right and you'll be, don't do it yourself.
No.
He can come in tomorrow and pick up the information that he
Yeah, I
needs.
think,
Like, is there a
believe
packet or something, maybe?
Actually, the application for site plan review land review is actually what you filled out, but now you'll be doing the site plan review side of it. So you just have to refill that out. You need the 16 copies of your application and any extemporaneous documents attached. That would be 16 copies of your drawing and anything else you need to put in the packet, so
What-
that we can give that to the relevant people that need to look at it.
You don't actually own the property yet, isn't it contingent upon that? So, yeah, how's that gonna work? Is he gonna be able to,
Purchase agreement, sorry.
purchase agreement will be okay? Okay, okay,
Thank you very much.
okay, thank you. Okay, so next, we did amend the agenda for item C, which is the Miller Farm site plan review, and you should have copies of that that were passed out this evening. And this is one of those little transition things that I think something
Yeah,
I think
well,
goes
I do-
smoothly as possible.
Between the transition, also the packet being a day late because of the 2-day power outage, things just got a little verklempt, so I do apologize for that. But Mr. Miller did submit this on time for me, for being at this meeting, so I do appreciate the commission's, I don't think indulgence is the right word, but cooperation in this little hiccup in giving him a hearing that he did make in terms of being here,
Okay.
getting stuff in on time.
Our job is to hopefully make things easier for people, not harder, so.
That's, I agree with that statement.
Jeff, if you'd like to come up and just introduce yourself and tell us what your plans are, and this is the first time we're seeing it, so, you know.
Jeff Miller, Miller Farms. I bought that old slaughter at Sundown. And I'm trying to switch it back to a roadside fruit stand to sell vegetables. And I'm supposed to be getting a plot plan for it. Sell pumpkins and Christmas trees. And I'd like to let the public in the front building. It's like a 50 by 30. Somewhere around there.
You're still zoned ag,
Yeah.
okay.
So I'm trying to get building permits, but they say I gotta get my plot plan, approved first before that, so.
Okay.
The R1 district.
He's in R1 district
I
Where,
believe there was a special land use previously for the slaughterhouse.
for the slaughtered.
Yeah,
And the special land use runs with the
land.
property. So
Mhm.
not that it's okay. So he has a special land use for, what would it be, for,
Say some sort of event or commercial.
Entertainment venue.
Entertainment, you know.
because I'm just looking at our, you know, our
But
ag.
what he is proposing would bring it into regular compliance because he basically wants to return it to its proper
Okay.
use and fall into the home-based business
Okay.
section of what's allowed under the zoning ordinance.
Because our ordinance under our, what we call our agribusiness, which is our value-added farming operations, there are a lot of uses that we're trying to be very egg-friendly in the township. But they do require a site plan when these things are proposed, so that's why he's being brought to the planning commission, because of the site plan. Because you're proposing, what type of activities, like, other than the selling of produce?
I got a little place out front for the kids in fall, and that's about it. Take them out back on a tractor ride, pick pumpkins.
Because, so that barn, you were doing a lot of remodeling or something in there,
Yeah,
that
so when I
required
bought the
building
place,
permits, yeah.
There was a bunch of them rooms in there for the haunted house, so well, actually, they tore it out before I purchased it, and I redid the wiring, I put heat in there. I had to get new, electric from Edison, because it was still hooked to her house, because they
Okay.
split off like 3 acres and kept that side. So I had to get electric in there, I had Semco put gas to the building. So yeah, I just trying to clean the inside up so I can let the public in to come pay for the Christmas trees and stuff.
Now, if you got permits, because anytime public's in a building, you have to pull all the permits.
They won't let me,
That's what brought him here, is because he went to go pull the permits, and the building inspector said he had to come, first he had to put a site plan review on.
Okay, okay, just trying to get my,
And then,
What
again,
caught
and then,
up
like I said, the
up speed.
snafu occurred with me is that my previous stint in the planning commission, site plan review like this is something that was done administratively. So it was, again, a misunderstanding on my behalf. And then when I did send the site plan in alongside the rezoning request, since I didn't get a report from Laura, I said, okay, then that's gonna be just in reports and correspondence or something. So again, it was just, because again, it was on Thursday, I was panicking to get them in because I didn't get it Wednesday because we were out of power. It just kind of was a bit of a comedy of errors at the end there, so. And that's also why I had to hand deliver the packets, because I couldn't trust the mail with the holiday, so. Somebody has some wonderful driveways, by the way.
so, okay, so what we're doing here is, we're basically approving a site plan so they can continue on with agribusiness activities? Is that what we're?
Yeah, so the site is zoned the R1 residential district, where this is a permitted farm, and these are listed as acceptable ancillary uses. If the general public is allowed internal access to a building, which the applicant is asking to reuse an existing building, reoccupy an existing building, the site plan and appropriate permits and inspections is required. So that's where the building official has said, okay, internal access, need to make sure that we're in compliant. But you're not proposing expansion to the building, correct? Or
No.
the parking area or anything? It's
no.
a simple reoccupancy into a lesser intensive use than was previously granted approval for.
So there's no footprint change. The barn is staying the same, the parking lot's there. So you're just basically doing interior improvements to the barn
Yeah. And when I purchased property, I come in here and talk to, I think her name was Christine.
Christine.
Yeah.
And she said, for the agriculture, all I had to do, if I was putting up a new building, is give her $50 for a permit, and I could put up the building. So I went ahead and redid electric and stuff inside, and then I got a call, well, I got a stop work order from Mel, so that's how this all started.
Right.
So I asked him to inspect it, well, I can't get a permit until you guys.
Okay.
So correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying he needs to, change his special land use?
No change
No,
to special
no,
land
it's
use,
just-
no. Whatever he was approved for before is just, was,
No, they're
No,
gonna add
because
one
you're
more.
already ag, right. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
It just says, part of you're doing these acceptable ancillary
Right.
uses is that, it's part of that it shall require a site plan and appropriate permits and inspections. So that's where he's at now. Wants to get the permits, but he has to do the site plan.
Right,
first.
right.
So,
I just want to clarify he's not changing his status because that's redundant.
and,
All right.
and it's
That's cool.
it's definitely R1 because I don't see that on the,
It's R1.
application.
It is our round.
Okay, so we should put that in, and on this application, put that is R1.
I don't understand, I guess I need it explained to me. If they had special land use already, or what did Slaughterhouse have? What,
They had a special land
Special
use to
land
run
use.
their,
The haunted
their
house.
haunted
house
house
and
where
hay
people
rides and
came
stuff.
in and did all this, why can't he just run under that same special
I
land
think
use?
because he's using it for a different purpose. Again, you have to ask Mel, and this is basically trying to just, as Mel said, you guys have to sign off. And like I said, I can't explain someone else's mindset beyond my own. But he said that under this thing, you guys need to say, okay, that basically because he's doing interior
That's what I'm
remodeling.
asking.
He's doing interior remodeling, so Mel said you need site plan approval. It's a step. I think it's mostly, considering, he's not changing the footprint, he's not changing anything structurally. It's kind of a formality. And again,
Go ahead.
to allow people inside, to something they were already inside for, but instead of an entertainment use, he's now using it basically for selling of agricultural product. So it's actually more in line with what
It
the
was
zoning is
originally,
for
yes.
than the special land use was.
Right.
So it's actually kind of almost
Taking it back.
undeveloping the property, to be honest.
That's why I was asking,
So-
is he changing the status?
No.
Because that's,
It's just
it
because of
might
how
be
he's.
because he changed
It's
hands.
because it's changed hands and because
That's
he's gonna be
why.
using it for a
Alright.
different purpose, he needs a site plan review, and again, it's.
That's fair.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, it's just required in here, and I just don't remember exactly what the special land use was for that was previous there. I mean, they had that haunted house.
For the file.
Check the minutes.
Yeah, this is, haunted houses are a family oriented.
Well,
It falls under there, but,
if you think that, we can, if we wanna give him his site plan approval now, I can continue research, and if you wanna revoke the special land use, I can put that on the agenda for the next meeting, and say he can't go back to it if that's what you're interested in, and just say you have to follow this, but.
I'm not, I understand, I was just curious,
If
curious
it's a
what.
curiosity, if there's a solution,
Right.
Yeah, don't do that.
Okay, so, it does require a site plan to do, some of the, especially these, things that are gonna be happening inside of a building with the public, so.
Right, right. All right.
So, Laura, you've probably just seen this for the first time tonight, but,
Oh, no, she got it a couple weeks ago.
okay.
I did mail it.
So, this is an existing site, so we're looking at this first time, we've just got some basic, this is ag, so we don't need a engineered sealed, it doesn't require
Engineering
that.
did get a copy, they deferred to it.
Yeah, but it doesn't say that we have to do that for this, that's just mainly for new construction where you have to have the sealed engineering.
yeah, they're not proposing an expansion of the facility,
Yes, this is just more like a site plan to cover the uses.
a plot plan,
Okay.
Then what is may I ask you, what is the building you said you put up for something else?
No,
No,
There
there's,
was nothing else structurally built?
No.
All right,
No.
good.
it's an existing building.
All right,
so all the work that's happening is just inside that existing barn.
that's fine.
And I notice you're selling stuff out in front now where
Yeah.
they weren't doing sales other than,
Tickets to be scared.
Right, right.
okay. Laura, anything else that we should be looking at?
Nope. I think you're ready for a motion.
Okay, so, if we feel that the motion would be to, basically, what are we doing? We're approving, a site plan review for, our, agribusiness ancillary uses.
You're approving a site plan for a farm market at 71800 Romeo Plank.
Okay.
I'm making a motion.
I'll support it.
Joe?
Okay, so Joe is making a motion to approve
Yes,
a site plan
for a farm market.
for a farm market
And the address.
at
71800.
71800 Romeo Plank.
I got a quick question for you. Sorry, you're gonna kill me. Do we have to do we specify more to the point that his special land use stays with it? That it's not been revoked? It's
I think we do.
understood.
I think
I
we
think
Yeah,
it's
there's no-
understood.
All right.
we just leave that lie because we
Wow.
don't even know
I don't
what,
wanna,
we're not sure what it is.
That follows the land, not
guy.
the owners.
Okay, so I have a motion to approve the site plan for a farm market at 71800 Romeo Plank.
correct.
Mhm.
Joe, do we have a second?
Yes,
Sarah.
this is-
Sarah? Okay, thank you. Any questions on the motion or what we're approving here? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank
Motion
you again for your
carries.
flexibility.
Yeah.
Tomorrow and come up here and.
Correct.
Yeah.
She's got all that.
So, did you give her money as well, or no?
No, she wouldn't take that.
All right, 9 AM.
Okay, thank you, sorry.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, from the things that I've seen that are going on there, it's, looks like a nice addition to the township. Thank you.
Yes, thanks for farming. Like that. Good job. Thanks for keeping the farmland.
I apologize for the hecticness, Jeff. I do
Well,
apologize.
yeah, I was just going, well, it got screwed up when everybody left.
It's-
Joys of
Right.
transition.
It's never easy, so.
Yeah. It's growing pains. Everyone's got them, and then the power outage didn't help, and the
Yeah.
internet
Top it
didn't
all
help,
off.
and, yeah, it's just kinda
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. We didn't get internet back until, what, 11 o'clock on
on
Thursday?
Thursday, yeah,
So I couldn't even get emails to get everything printed and sorted.
4 days
Until
without power, so.
noon.
yeah,
So-
so, yeah, it's been,
It was a
we've
fun
had a
week.
little struggle.
It was a fun week.
But we work through it. We get there.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, you gotta love it, right?
Next on our agenda, we have some unfinished business. First one we have is the master plan discussion.
Now, I just moved this down because there was no
Take care of that.
motions to close it. My normal
Okay.
policy, if there's something on new business that is a motion to put on unfinished, I don't know if you actually have any further discussion.
Do we have any further discussion on the master plan?
Not from me at this time.
Okay. Sarah? Okay.
Would you like me to put it on the next agenda, or you want to just leave it off for the time?
We probably need to, we are gonna have to break down and
We
discuss.
have to make, we have to do something
We
at
do,
some
yeah,
point.
because
We either
there-
gotta discuss it to see what we're gonna do, if we want to,
There's
look
something
at the
that's-
master plan again, or if we just wanna say that we're okay with it, but I think we want some
Yeah.
minor tweaking there.
I'd like to see some minor tweaking, but I think we can wait till next meeting, kind of discuss, see what,
Okay.
you know.
I'll leave it on the
So we're
agenda.
just-
Some ideas, I mean, maybe you should all think about, where we're thinking of more industrial or commercial or.
Yeah, and it'll
we
just
want,
be a
what we don't
discussion,
want.
right, because
Yeah.
some things have been talked about more recently than 2015, some have been about 2018, some, so it's just kind of a, maybe just go over things again, and like you said, Beth, to, think about where
I
we,
swear to God, I want to get that.
Okay, so, do we need a motion to table or just leave it lie? Laura, is it better just have a motion to
can-
table?
I don't think we need a motion
You
or
don't
something.
need to, it's under unfinished
There's no
business, I'll
action.
just continue to be
Okay.
unfinished business.
Okay, we'll see that again. Under PC projects, now, small scale entertainment, I think, are we just waiting for a clean copy? I think we're done with that one, are we?
Yeah.
So we just need a clean copy of that. We don't have anything tonight, do we? It was in the packet, okay.
No,
Um,
we can shoot to have some updates for the,
And the same with the attached garage size, we just need a clean copy on that. We've pretty much settled that one. So then we got the, kind of the sticking points are like that second home on property, which is sort of a legal issue that, is there any action on that?
No, I
That
don't.
seemed to take a lot of different turns at the last meeting, if I'm thinking correctly.
And that ties in with the seasonal worker
That's
clause.
where, yeah, that's
So-
where I was getting confused because it was all over the place.
Okay. And then the zoning districts, the last one you gave us, was that a complete one? Ready to adopt the zoning districts overview graph?
I think that one is ready to go. The other thing that we should consider is with the rezoning to the car wash facility, and then if the other property for the parking lot is approved by the township board, we should make those changes on the map.
Oh, that's,
Township-
okay,
the-
that'd be
The
on,
zoning map, the official zoning map.
so that's the zoning map. Now, when you make a change on the zoning map, that doesn't require public hearing and things, does it? It's just, we bring up updated copy of the
Mhm.
zoning
Because
map.
technically, we've already heard the rezonings.
Right,
Right.
so once the
Very good
township
public
approves it,
hearing.
we
Yeah.
just make the
It's just
change on the
basically
map and get new,
Coloring the map a little differently.
okay.
Mhm.
Someone get your marker out, we'll just take it.
So we just need a couple clean
My
copies on
granddaughter's
two of the
about to
ordinance
college.
updates, and we still just need to hammer out basically that second homes.
Mhm.
Okay,
Speaking
Yeah.
of clean copies, I have to bring this up.
okay.
Poor Scott.
Oh, don't pour Scott.
Oh, no. When I was in the office, just by chance, and that resident was in, we were having discussion about the administrative review board and how many people were on it, and I was saying 5, and the resident agreed with me, and Scott said, I said to Scott, well, just bring it up on the computer, so he went on the website, and it's not updated. The old ordinance is on the website.
Or on the website.
It's not updated, and we also don't have our updates. If you remember, we had asked Christine for them, and she said she was gonna wait until she had a bunch of them, and then give us all new
But,
books.
let's see, who does the updates, is it Dawn? So
I
Dawn,
actually spoke to her about that as soon as that meeting broke up.
okay.
So I did.
So we did, it was, I think, in November where we had a public hearing, and I think it went to the township board, and I think 3 out of the 4 ordinances had changed, 1 didn't. So those, we need to make sure. It was like the November 10th maybe meeting, so that, and I don't know about other ones. It's just, we need to keep up
Okay,
on
so
that,
you-
and
so
we
you-
need it for ourselves.
I did actually discuss that with Deputy Clerk. I also, from my past experiences, did make a recommendation as opposed to changing the PDF copy. There is a online format I have used called Unicode. I did recommend looking into that.
That's yours.
They've heard of it, there's some discussion about it, but basically send them the update, they integrate and keep all old copies online. So it was a recommendation I made, but that's something the township can discuss if they wanna go through that expense as opposed to updating PDF, so. But yes, as soon as that discussion was had, I did have that discussion with Deputy.
Thank you, because it's,
Okay.
it was
So the administrative review is one of the ones that's not updated.
correct.
Okay.
It said
Yeah.
still 3 people.
Yeah, it said online that it was the planner, the planning administrator, and 1 member, and I
Okay.
did have,
So
I
that's
did go in the
not-
clerk's office, she had the true copy, which did include the chair and the vice chair, a member of the planning commission, the planner,
Right,
and
right.
the PC administrator.
Engineer.
So I stood corrected.
Well,
Okay.
and it wasn't, it was
Yeah, I
just,
guess
I
I-
felt for you, I mean, it's like he's going
I've
according
had
to.
much worse embarrassments than
computer.
reading something that was old. I've had much worse embarrassments in my life in politics. Sarah can attest to a few of them.
So we never did get the updated pages for
No.
the book.
Nope, so
No.
we need our own, we need copies. I don't,
I know,
I do, and,
I'd like an updated book too, just like all of you would, so.
Me, I like it
Yeah.
online because I can hit Control F and find anything, but that's it.
Right.
well, that's handy too.
Why don't we do both?
Yes.
But,
We
right.
do both. I mean, because mine's a debacle too.
Yeah, we do need the new pages.
I will further discuss it with the deputy
I'm
clerk
old
tomorrow.
school, I can do stuff
Okay.
online, but I also like to have my,
I do
Yeah.
too, I mean, we can't all have computers here,
right.
so we do need the hard copies.
Well, in theory,
Well, we
we all have
could.
computers. I'm not paying for them, but
Well,
in theory, we could all bring our
I don't
tablets or
think that-
laptops and do what we do.
Okay, so the last thing we have under PC project is the administrative review application process. Laura, you had mentioned that you might have a, like a simple application that someone would use or specifically for the administrative review. Anything happen with that?
There's no updates right now, so you can shoot for October.
Okay. So really nothing to do under the PC projects.
And if there's anything you want on that list, just let me know, because I literally just took what you had discussed last time and kept it going forward. So if there's anything, if I made a mistake in terms of something you've already
Yeah,
disposed
and I'd like
of,
to make sure that there's more stuff on
Okay.
too, so that we're not,
and again,
you know,
I
just doing 2 or 3 items.
well, it's
We
also
need to-
just a personal preference of mine, again, had I been doing this from scratch, is that each one of those would be its own individual line item, just because I think it's a little bit cleaner as opposed to a semicolon paragraph, but that's just a quirk of mine. I like the A, B, C, D stuff, but I'm quirky that way.
This is fine, I just always like to fit on one page, that's my.
I've tried that, but unfortunately, when you have a lot of stuff to do, it doesn't always work. Especially when you have to put this whole big paragraph about the online
Yeah,
stuff, that really
paragraph.
gets in the way of one page.
Right.
So-
What is the story with this online thing? How long is this like state law or something?
No, it is not. John likes to keep it because he's finding more participation from the community.
You get more at the board meetings on this thing?
He has, yes.
Okay,
I see
nobody.
nobody.
I see me in Beth.
Today.
Right.
But you can go on YouTube later and you can see people can watch it.
Yeah.
I
You
think
know.
they're watching that one, which is much better than, I don't think they watch this one. The one that's
Right.
recorded and uploaded is
Exactly.
off of the,
Correct.
is the one
That's
that,
correct.
what's Scott's looking at.
Yeah.
But this is your interaction though, too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, for
Yeah.
the public
The-
comment.
But that,
the
it's only
state-
happened one time and there's such a serious delay, it was hard to use.
Well, the state
Right.
law requiring did expire at the end of
April,
last.
I think.
Yeah,
I mean,
actually, yeah, you're right, it was the end of April last year, that's when it was allowed for people to work remotely. There was a provision that expired, I think, last year, if you were militarily deployed, it still
Yes.
allowed you to do remotely, run a
Right.
border commission. However, that ended at the end of the year, it was not extended, so no one can
So
appear
we're-
remotely and vote. Like, again, experientially, I actually had, at the beginning of this year, I had a planning commission member in Florida when I was chair, and he participated remotely, added his commentary, but could not vote.
Mhm.
So
Right.
that was something, again, for transparency in a small township, putting it on Zoom is also a good thing. You know, in a small township, you need to be, so.
Yeah.
Besides the new book, I'd like to make a recommendation to the board to change our website. I think it is so non-user friendly.
Joe,
That's my opinion.
Joe,
it's-
if I can use it, anyone can use it.
As I said,
The township website is what you're
the
talking about, Joe?
township website needs to be addressed.
What, I don't,
What
what part?
specifically?
Everything.
That
I-
sounds like
A
our
to
zoning.
Z. I mean, you go to look in for meetings and you're rerouted to a different, like if you put in meetings, there's no search engine, at least on the one,
It's
just
not really user
obsolete.
friendly, I agree.
I think it
I
should
do
be.
see a lot of other things.
Yeah, I mean, I go to other townships and it's like, oh my God.
It's,
Yeah.
that would have to
I've seen worse.
be, you know, something that we have to go out for an RFP, you
Yeah.
know, and I mean, that's,
And if I need to come in person to mention it to the board, I have no problem with that, but I think that you can deal with that.
Yeah, there should be a link to the meeting when you're watching it.
Yeah.
That, I know
Yeah.
it's frustrating
so-
to try and find the actual meeting.
Even to navigate through it, you get there, but you gotta, like, do some extra due diligence to do it.
the board did just approve recently, a new IT contract. I can't tell you off the top of my head what all it entails, but we know we have some serious technology issues
Alright.
here, so,
Let the school kids do it.
yeah,
Yeah,
I know
seriously.
that, I know.
Websites are so 2010, that school kids don't even use websites. If it's not on TikTok, they don't know anything.
Yeah,
Well, we need
but
TikTok, so-
just food
Yeah,
for
let's
thought.
TikTok the meetings. Everyone's limited to 1 minute.
Yeah.
But I don't know what TikTok
Yeah,
is.
so, just know that.
You don't want to.
Yeah, no.
Okay, Monica, you have any public comments?
No, that's it.
Okay, well, it is,
Can I say something?
yes, go ahead.
Scott, you did a very good job.
Thank you.
I think you should stay on that position, if possible.
You can't afford me.
Well,
He's honest.
sometimes money ain't it's the smartness and all that.
Well, it's,
You brought a lot to the table
You
that,
did.
I appreciate that.
I think that's what we need.
If you would permit a slight indulgence.
Go right ahead.
I do thank you for that, Commissioner, and I thank the board for allowing me to serve this past few months. Blame Sarah. I actually was,
Everyone blames me for everything.
I actually was working in the UP. I took a job down here that ended up not working out, and she posted the jobs, and I joked, "Oh, too bad it's not full time." And she said, "We haven't had anyone apply. Could you please come help?" And I said, "Sure." And while I looked for my next full-time position, because I was a DDA director, then I was briefly a village manager. So we'll see what's next. I actually do have someone checking my references for another village manager job, so we'll see if hopefully that works. But no, I have appreciated it. It's nice to work in Macomb County. You know, I grew up here, I lived here. I've known Armada for a while. I actually was at a downtown association thing and told people to drink the Blakes. I've always appreciated the hard side. So I'd like to thank you for having me. I apologize for any hiccups I caused, and if I brought a small part of good to the township, I'm very proud of that.
Well, you did.
Thank you for that. And also, I've been told that there is someone who does want the positions full-time. The board should be discussing that next week, so I will not discuss that person's business. That is up to the board to decide. So I anticipate this will probably be my only meeting here, so I do thank you for having me. Thank you, Sarah, for posting the job and accepting my joke as an offer to come work for you for a few months. And I wish this board and the township best of luck in the future. I look forward to coming back, if for no other reason than the hard cider.
Well, thank you, Scott, and we wish you success in whatever your endeavor is, so.
And rethink it if you.
Okay, so now it's 8:21, and I assume that we're ready to
God, I hope so.
motion for adjournment.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support it.
Okay, Beth, Sarah, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I don't wanna-
Does
Any
anyone ever
any
say
opposed
no?
or wrong?